Hello? Is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. College Basketball Weekly, we are back. Week before Christmas. Luke Taylor here, Sammy D joining me again. I always enjoy, I give you a hard time when you're not on the show, but I thoroughly enjoy it when you are.
So, yeah, guys, somebody's got to put your big body in check, man. You know.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a pleasure to be back. College basketball. There are some good games,
I know, and there's some good games going on while we record. So we'll get into it. But yeah, I mean it's dwindling down non-conference, and like in a week and a half from now, it's going to be all conference play for the most part.
It's fun to see some of the conference play already start. Game here, the game there, stuff. But I mean,
Missouri Valley, they start like early, they have like 2 games in early December, which really throws me off.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So what teams have you kind of got your eye on the past week?
So I got to give flowers. I guess that's what they say now. They got to give flowers. Okay.
Give flowers. Yeah.
So I have been very critical of Coach Buzz Williams. And you know how much I love Buzz Williams.
You do love Buzz Williams.
Yeah. He's a dancer. I'm a dancer. He dressed very colorfully for years. I dressed very colorfully for years. I was wearing this earlier. Someone says, "Are you cleaning garbage on the highway?" I'm like, that's kind of offensive. You called me a criminal.
Got that Syracuse orange though, man. Looks good.
Yeah. Well, College Basketball Weekly. Boom, boom. Texas A&M 9-2, went from 17th in the AP poll to 12th. Last 5 wins: Purdue, Texas Tech, Wake Forest, Rutgers, and Creighton, after losing by 10 to Oregon. So they've won 5 in a row. The crazy thing with them is they're tied for 322nd in the nation in field goal percentage.
Okay.
Which is not good. They're top 20, tied for 20th overall in rebounds. You know who I love though? Wade Taylor. Wade Taylor's a ball player, and I keep saying if he has a bad game, they're in trouble. Problem is he's not having bad games.
No. There's so many teams like that though, who paid the money to get a player or keep a player, right? And if that player's off, they're not going to win. But Wade Taylor's so consistent so far this season.
Yeah. And Zurich Phelps is another nice player. He's averaging about 13.3. So that's the first one. The second flowers I have to give is UCLA.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me a little.
And we talked. He was kind of on the lukewarm seat. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Mick Cronin 9-1. Okay, they don't really play a schedule. They beat Arizona, they beat Oregon, they beat Washington, and that's non-conference. Okay, shouldn't say that. Oregon and Washington are conference, but Arizona is non-conference, which is weird. The only loss, and I was kind of disappointed, they just didn't look great, was against New Mexico, and I really, we're both really high on New Mexico. But the key is that their next 2 games, 4 days before Christmas, they play UNC, who almost beat an undefeated team tonight. We're going to drop this on Wednesday, and then they play 12-28 against Gonzaga.
Okay.
So UCLA is another team. 2 others. I got 2 others for you. Is SMU. Okay. Andy Enfield left USC to go to SMU. I'm a really big fan of Kevin Miller's, dropped about 14.4. 9-2. They just beat LSU. So on Saturday, only one SEC team lost all of Saturday, and it was SMU over LSU. So I got to give props because SEC is by far the best conference in basketball. As I watch USC, Southern Carolina, beat their arch rival Clemson in overtime. They beat them by 3. So I was just watching that. 2 other teams. San Francisco. I love the Dons. We've had Chris Gerlison twice. Yeah. Funny story.
Big win. Yeah.
Big win. But even funnier, there was a tie that day. Oh. So I asked Coach G, because, Coach Valentine, we've had them both on the show. They're both big sneakerheads. And I said, who's going to bring it? Who's going to win
They have really good sneaker games too. 2 Nike schools, so yeah, it's fair playing ground.
But who's going to win the full court network shoe off or freak off?
Yeah.
Coach G told me. He said, Ty, they wore the same shoes.
I love it.
Like, who would have thought? But he said he won it because they won the game.
Ty goes to the win.
I also like Washington State. Really impressed with Coach David Riley's doing 9-2. They have Washington on tonight. Last 3 games beat at Nevada, Boise State, and Missouri State. So 3 good teams. VCU.
How many teams are you gonna name?
I got one more up there. VCU, but it's going to lead edge. They just beat Colorado State 9-2. Okay, you got. I can't pick one or two.
All good.
This is going to tie in Dayton.
Oh, I like Dayton. Yeah,
Dayton.
We're going to talk about Dayton in a little bit here.
No, we're going to talk about Dayton right now.
Okay, let's talk
about the LT road tripping.
Let's do it. Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear my 2 teams of the week?
No. What's your 2 teams?
I got 2 teams you didn't give me. And so I want to give some flowers too here, I mean, first one's going to be a 10-0 Utah State Aggies, first 10-0 start in program history. We had Coach Calhoun on the show. I just want to shout them out again, man. They've got an incredible duo with Ian Martinez and Mason Falslev, putting up career numbers, and shout out to the Logan, Utah community. Their support of the program, their support of Coach Calhoun. The herd is showing up this year, which will be a big.
Did you see the Instagram, the messenger I was talking to the herd with?
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, the herd is one of the most. It's a college gym, college basketball gym. If you can make your way to Logan, get out there, because the herd shows up, and the herd is going to win some games in Mountain West this year with the Aggies. And then my second team has been flying under the radar all year. I got to give some love to some mid-majors. If we're going to call, the A10 mid-major, but 11-1 St. Bonaventure. And the
Bonnies.
Their only loss this season so far is to an undefeated Utah State team, which I just talked about.
Yep.
Coach Mark Schmidt is always doing more with less. He just finds ways to make guys better. What I love about this team is they were preseason selected 10th in the A10 in the conference preseason polls. Yes, they're 11-1 right now. We're witnessing them growing into a mid-major masterpiece, getting votes this week in the AP top 25 poll. So from going preseason 10th in their conference to getting preseason to getting votes in the top 25 by week 7 right now. They're led by Missouri State transfer Chance Moore, leads the team. Yeah, 15 points, 7 rebounds. Yesterday they beat Siena, really good Siena team. Chance Moore put up 23 and 10. You're gonna love. I'm gonna send you this, and I want you to put it up on the screen. So St. Bonaventure's just signed an NIL deal with the WWE. Thanks to general manager Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN. Right now he's with the Bonnies, his alma mater, getting back into college basketball. So they have this WWE title belt that they give to the player of the game each night. It's somebody with your swag, LT. You're gonna love seeing what this belt looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. So shout out to the Bonnies at St. Bonaventure, 11-1. Look out for them in the A10. They are, like I said, they're growing into a mid-major masterpiece right now. It's so fun to watch this team develop.
Yeah. What would you? Okay, SEC. The SEC is dominating. We're both big fans of the Big 12 and the Big East. What are 1 or 2 conferences that you're really enjoying? I got 2. What would you say?
I like the A10 right now.
That was one of mine.
I'm telling you, that's one I follow it every year, but it's I really get on board once every 4 or 5 years. This is one of those years.
Yes.
Yes. I just think that they're that good, right?
Well, but if you look at it from even top to bottom, UMass is struggling, SLU is struggling. They're still 6-4, but you've got Rhode Island 10-1, St. Bonaventure you mentioned, Loyola, Dayton's 10-2, George Washington. Have Coach Caputo, big up to the his program, 9-2. VCU's 9-2 and Davidson's 8-2.
I know
this has got to be a multi-bid league this year.
It has to be a multi-bid league.
Yeah, and we're not talking 2. They should get 3, but as we know, one's conference play. The other conference I'm really liking is CUSA, Conference USA.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. We love La Tech, Bacho. Coach Hester, love them. They're 10-2. What about Liberty? Liberty. I just wanted to say that.
I know you love saying that. Liberty shows up every year, beginning of the season, or like the last couple of years. I'll put it that way. But yeah, Conference USA, man. When I watch those games, it is high pace, fast, physical basketball. Right,
Yep.
like they have some of the best athletes in the country, hands down.
Yep. And I mean, they've got some good teams. You got MTSU, you've got UTEP, you've got Kennesaw State, you've got Western Kentucky, and then obviously Liberty and La Tech. So let's go back to the A10. So LT went road tripping. We're starting to do a section called road tripping. And check out our YouTube page. I mean, if you're watching the YouTube page, just go down, you'll see it. We're going to do more of this, or I'm going to do more of this, or we're going to do more of this. We kind of did this somewhat at Wyoming when we went last year, but
Colorado State, that was good time.
Yeah, Colorado State. Dude, Dayton, man. The Flyers.
So you were down in Dayton this past Saturday. You know, Dayton hosted number 6 Marquette. You know, what did you learn from that game? Let's just start with the atmosphere first.
I didn't want to come home. I mean, it was thumping. Listen, if you want to go to a college basketball environment, go watch a game at Dayton. If you're a college basketball fan, once in your life you have to go to UD Arena. You just have to. I mean, it's awesome, and I think it just leads the fact that really good program, stability, just passion. I mean, that's their pro sports. I mean, they don't have pro sports in Dayton. You know, you got Cincinnati, you got Columbus an hour or whatever away, but man, the Flyers, and they've got a good team. I mean, I really like their team. You know, Cheeks, Santos, Zed Key. I mean, I wish Kobe Barea came back, went to Kentucky. Malachi Smith. The guy that I'm waiting for just kind of get comfortable is Posh Alexander. Okay. I mean, you remember Posh from the Big East and Butler and what have you. Oh, yeah. I mean, once he gets going, it's crazy. But, man, they've got great fans. I mean, even the security and all the people that worked at the arena were really nice and really friendly.
What I love about Dayton's one of the biggest party schools in the country. Like, that's not a secret. And when you put a good party school together with a good college basketball team, like, yes, it gets fun. And like, they're passionate about their team. So they came in, they upsetted Marquette at home, and it was their 24th consecutive home win. That just tells you like how solid that fan base is. You know, they're 9-2 for the season.
Nope, they just won. Last night. They beat UNLV by 1.
Okay, I saw. Yeah. So 10-2 on the season right now against Marquette. So Marquette's defense is really good this year. You know, they're forcing about 17 turnovers a game. The second half, UD didn't turn the ball over once. The second half, UD put up 45, outscored Marquette 45-27. Like, what happened in that locker room at halftime with Coach Anthony Grant?
So I asked him if it was his best speech ever, and he said, "What did the players say?" I'm like, "Oh God!" So the guy who's sitting beside me works at UD in the SID, the communications, athletic communications. And he was telling me he went to go get the sheets and stuff, the game stats, halftime game stats. And he said, and they're down 10. And Dayton they were a little bit sloppy in the first half. And long story short, he said that all the managers were outside the locker room and Coach Grant was just giving them the goods. I mean, we've all been there, all done that. I mean, we've all been around. I mean, not all, but some I have at least. And it's interesting. And they came to play, man. And I mean, it was at a certain point.
The second half, Dayton looked like a top 10 team.
Yes. So I actually got ready with 3 minutes to go. I went to the floor because I was going to court storm. And 3 college kids tried to storm and they got stopped.
They don't have your side. They needed you to lead the way. Just a bowling ball.
No. I mean, it would have been comical. But yeah, watch out for you, Dayton. So, we got to go. I mean, I'm going back at some point. I mean, it was a little bit of a hike, almost 3 hours, and I literally closed my eyes the last 36 minutes of my drive home at 12:30 at night. But so let me ask you this, okay? We talked about this a couple of months ago. There were some coaches that were potentially on the hot seat this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who has cooled off their seat?
Porter Moser's at the top of my list there. I mean,
really?
Preseason picked 15th in the SEC and is now the number 14 team in the country.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you can't unless he just has an absolute dismal conference play. Like, he's not going anywhere. He'll have the option.
They open conference at Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, everybody. We'll get into this in a little bit. I mean, everybody in the SEC is just going to beat the crap out of each other. But I mean, like I said, I mean, they were picked to finish second to last in the SEC, and they're the 14th best team in the country right now. And they're 10-0, like, wins over Providence, Arizona, Louisville.
But let me ask you something. Do you think they've played a good schedule? Because I mean, Arizona's down.
Well, here's the thing: like, they didn't know that, right?
Right.
Like, they didn't know that going into this. Like, I mean, they're playing a Providence team, which is having a rough year. They're playing an Arizona team, which is having a rough year. Louisville's on the up, so they've got wins over Providence, Arizona, Louisville, Georgia Tech. They had a 15-point win over a good Oklahoma State team this past week.
At Oklahoma State, right?
That was an away game. So it's like Oklahoma State's getting votes for the top 25 right now. They've got a great team with Coach Lutzy. So I mean, they're 10-0 with the 5 wins against power conference schools. So 50% of their win. It's not like when Moser put this schedule together, he was like hiding, right? Like trying to get a bunch of cupcake wins. The big test is going to be tonight. They play against Michigan. If OU can kind of stay in the middle of the pack in the SEC this season, they'll make the NCAA tournament. I think right now he's secured himself at least another season, with OU if he wants to.
Yeah, it's also not how you start, it's how you finish. So that's one. The one I've got is Bobby Hurley. I'm going to steal that from you because that's your guy slapping the floor. 8-2. Mm-hmm. He's lost to Gonzaga in Florida. Now, the Florida loss was pretty bad. They lost by 17 points. Yep. The thing with him in the conference is he only plays Kansas and Baylor once in conference, and I think also Houston too. Mm-hmm. So his conference schedule, he plays Texas Tech twice. I can't remember, Colorado twice. Yep. So, I mean, he's going to have, I don't want to say easier time, because I think when you get to conference play, no game is easy. But he's got to make the tournament. Doesn't make the tournament, he's not coming back.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the fence with Coach Bobby Hurley. Obviously, a much better start to the season than I think everybody was expecting. So I think his seat's cooled off a little bit. He's winning games that, we all may have gone and said, 50-50 chance. He's got good wins over Grand Canyon, got a good win against St. Mary's, got a good win against New Mexico. This past week, they received 14 votes in the AP top 25 poll. So he's getting some respect around the country, which I think is really hard to do when you're a West Coast school. Shout out to Coach Hurley in Arizona State, because they are they're picking up the pace from where they were last year for sure.
Yeah, I got 2 more, and I think you've got them too. Okay. Where do you want to go, Villanova or Indiana?
You do Indiana.
All right, so Indiana's 8-3. Mm-hmm. Just lost to Nebraska by like 17. Beat Minnesota by 15. Lost to Gonzaga and Louisville. So 3 tough losses and 3 good teams, 3 good programs. If you look on the message boards, you would think he was like 0-10. Mm-hmm. But I think with him, I think he's got to make it to the second round of the NCAA tournament to keep his job. Yeah. I think it's just with NIL and the transfer portal and all that other stuff, I think it's really difficult. I think it's tough. It's going to be tougher. But hey, if he keeps this up, I think the Big Ten is down a little bit this year. I don't think it's Michigan State's not the Michigan State of old. Illinois is young but good. Purdue, I thought Purdue was going to roll on Texas A&M. I was wrong on that one again. But I think he's got to win a couple at least a game or 2 in the NCAA tournament to secure his job. You want to go to Villanova?
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you think about Villanova? I mean, they are 8-4. They just beat Seton Hall last night. They're on a 5. Here's where I'm stuck with Villanova, right? Like they started the year 3-4 with some bad wins, right? Now they're on a 5-game winning streak. So,
well, I mean, they beat Cincy by 8, and then they crushed Temple by 29. So something happened.
Something happened for sure. I mean, if you would have asked me this 3 weeks ago, I'm like, okay, Kyle Neptune's going to get fired in the last week of January. He's going to be the first one to go.
Yep.
Now I'm like, okay, where the Big East this year? I mean, it's a down year for the Big East, I think. Would you agree? You know,
yes.
where kind of anything in that middle to the back of that conference, anything can happen, right? And
yes.
That's where they are right now. So, I mean, they could finish last in the conference, or they can finish 5th or 6th in the conference. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's the way they're playing right now. I mean, they're going to finish 5th, 6th, or 7th. You know, they've been playing lights out the past week and a half. So
yeah,
I think he has secured himself through the end of the season with these wins he's had the last couple weeks.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't know if he's off the hot seat for end of season stuff. You know, the Villanova fans, I mean, they're used to winning championships. They're used to making the tournament every year.
Yep.
And I mean, they're used to being an elite team. So it's where does that standard go? Like, what is that expectation right now? And that's, you know, Villanova also has, I mean, they've got a new athletic director as well. And so that could play into where Coach Neptune ends up in March, April.
Well, I think also, too, I mean, we talk about the good old days, but this is not the good old days. You know, you can't build a program with 2, 3, 4-year guys that have been in your system. You know, like that's what Jay Wright succeeded on.
Yep.
He didn't have many transfers, and they were just good. So yeah, we'll see. I think he's, like you said, he's got to keep going, and he's probably got to get into the NCAA tournament and have a good showing. They don't have to win, but they can't lose by 15 points.
Yeah, I think if they don't make the NCAA tournament, he's not going to be at Villanova next year. And I think it's a long shot that the Big East gets more than 4 teams in.
We got 3 last year. You really think they're going to get that many?
No, I don't. I think that they're going to get 3 again. But I don't. My point is, I don't see Villanova being a top 4 team in the Big East, no matter how much they've improved from the first couple weeks.
Yeah.
So any coaches that you think should be talking to their ADs right now about saying, hey, look what I've accomplished. I need a contract extension so you can secure it up. I'm gonna throw one at you while you think. I mean, I think where this coach was at beginning of the season with where he's at now, I'm gonna throw Coach Penny Hardaway at Memphis out there. I think they need to lock him up, you know. There's a lot of people who wanted to see him gone after the program made some unfortunate headlines before the season even started. Penny's a winner. His team is rightfully in the top 25 where it belongs now, and they should stay in the top 25 the rest of the season.
You would hope.
Yeah, they're 8-2 right now with, you know, one of their losses to Auburn. You know, what's more impressive, I mean, their non-conference schedule is just off the charts. You know,
they play Mississippi State still.
Yeah, you did a huge kind of bit on that, and I mean it nailed it a couple weeks ago. But I mean, they've got wins over San Francisco, Missouri, UNLV, UConn, Michigan State, Clemson. Yeah, I mean, Penny's contract runs through the 2027-2028 season. I think that they should be looking to lock him up for an additional 3 years for what he's achieved.
Yeah. Can we go to a Memphis game this year?
Yes, please. Let's do it.
I'm serious. We go to was it Crystals or White Castle? Where did we go the last time we were in Memphis?
I think it's Crystals. Yeah.
Big E wanted to smash some Crystals.
Yeah, get some Crystal chicks and party on Beale Street. I'm down, man. I love Beale Street.
You know, I'm trying to think. I'm having a tough time with that one. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I like that Penny Hardaway one for sure. I'm sure something will come in my mind. But so there's 5 undefeated teams, and I'm actually watching. And by the time we're
hopefully there's 5 by the time this airs.
Well, so Utah State is up by 7 at half to UC San Diego, who's a top 10 mid-major team. And then Drake and Kansas State are tied 6 in overtime. So let's talk about the ones we know about. So we talked a little bit about Oklahoma. Can they win tonight in the Jumpman Classic against Michigan?
So I mean, Oklahoma, I mean, their kind of fate depends on Jeremiah Fears. He's the lone freshman, in a kind of a big ocean of 4th and 5th year guys. But, I mean, he can take over a game. He put up 26 points against Arizona earlier this season. I think that the Oklahoma, as much as I've already kind of complimented Coach Moser and OU, what they've achieved this early, I think that their candle's going to start to burn out as they get into this kind of little tougher schedule. SEC play will wear this team out. I just don't think that they're that deep. But I think that their first loss comes tonight against Michigan.
Yes. Okay.
They remind me of there's the 2015-2016 team, like South Carolina. They started off 15-0 and then they just crashed and burned, right? And they ended up getting a bid in the NIT tournament after starting. Like I can see that with like Oklahoma, and then just getting worn out in SEC play and losing 9 or 10 games in a row.
Right. So Tennessee crushed Western Carolina last night. The Catamounts. Tennessee has a couple more relatively, I don't want to say easy, because I'm really a big fan of Middle Tennessee State. They play Middle Tennessee State. Then they play Norfolk. And we love Coach Robert Jones. We've had him on the show before. They open conference against Arkansas. That's going to be interesting. Then you have Florida. They had the closest game they ever had. They came out on top. They beat UNC, who's kind of had an up and down year. They're struggling, but still a good program. They play UNF, North Florida, Coach Driscoll, and then they play Donnie Jones from Stetson. Then they at Kentucky on January 4th. I think both of them will probably go 2-0, and then they open SEC play. And I like that Tennessee's home. Florida, Kentucky. Kentucky's good.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's had a great season so far. I mean, we've talked about Arizona State. They beat Arizona State in a neutral game in Atlanta. Then they just beat North Carolina, like you said, in Charlotte, which was a neutral game. I have their first loss coming January 4th at Kentucky.
Really?
I think Kentucky's that good this year. I think they're a really good college basket. I mean, they've got a lot of talent, but what Coach Pope is doing at Kentucky, he has them playing good college ball. I think that they are going to, the way that they play the game, I think that they, I think that they're not going to get as worn out as some of these other teams like Florida. Tennessee, I mean, I think Tennessee is going to be the last undefeated team standing.
You think so?
They're so good. When you look at the hurting that they put on the ACC this season so far, Tennessee won by 22 at Louisville. They beat Virginia by 22. They destroyed Syracuse by 26. They beat Miami by 13. They're just crushing the ACC.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have been crushing the ACC.
For sure, but it's just like, I mean, this team's been tested. And, I mean, if you put Tennessee in just about almost any other conference, I think that they run the table, right? But, I mean, they are in the SEC. I have them losing their first game on January 25th at Auburn.
Really?
Yeah. I think they're going to be undefeated until January 25th, and it's going to be a huge game at Auburn. I think Auburn's going to show up. I think their fans are going to be louder than they've been in decades, and I think they're going to take that game from Tennessee. I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah. Okay. What about so I'm just looking at the scores. So Utah State is up by 5, is up by 3, San Diego, and then Missouri Valley. Drake is up by 4. 2 minutes to go, Kansas State. I mean, Drake has been remarkable. I mean, when you really, even if they, I mean, they're gonna lose eventually, You know, that game against, I think Bradley's good enough to beat him. Duke Dean, baby. I love Duke Dean. I love Duke Dean.
This is like the coming out party for Garrett Sturtz, a JUCO transfer from Northwest Missouri State. Like, you know, I mean, he's since November 10th, he hasn't been out of the game. Like, it's the guy's just putting up numbers. Like,
that's what I feel like with all these shows. I haven't been out of the game forever.
So what I'm going to tell you about Drake, if they get through, if they get through Kansas State, the only games left on their schedule against a Ken Palm top 100 team are the 2 games against Bradley, which I think that they should beat Bradley both of those games. Drake could run an undefeated season.
So they're up 4 right now on Kansas State with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go. So we'll have to keep our eye on that one. So you're saying
look for coach to be the coach of the year. Like,
nationally?
Yes.
Do you think they'll get in the tournament?
Yes. They go undefeated in conference. Yeah, I think.
But don't you think like that team? And this is no offense to Coach or Drake by any means, but it's just college basketball in general. Don't you think that team can just maybe have an off night and they lose to like UIC or Murray State or, you know, Northern Iowa, all good team, Missouri State, one of those teams?
I think they're all. Yeah, I think they could for sure. I don't think they will. I think that, you know, when you get a guy like Ben McCullum, who, you know, first year in Division I, he's taking a lot of guys with chips on their shoulders. They were passed over.
Up 6 now.
Like, I mean, I think that like these guys play to win every night. And I think that if they were going to have a couple down nights, it would have happened earlier in the season.
Yes.
They're getting better each game. Like that's the thing about Drake is they're getting better each game. Like they click so early in the season and now they're getting better each game in a Missouri Valley Conference, which is how, like, again, I mean, your next best team is Bradley, which is a good team, right? But I don't think that they're on the same level as a Drake. And I think when you start getting some of these guys, the way they play the game, they move the ball so well. And like, you're not going to squeeze one by them. I don't think.
Yeah.
So
we'll have an update. We'll still be talking for a little bit longer, but I'll keep you updated on that one. I do not disagree on that one. Hopefully, Utah State's only up by 1. But there's still 16, almost 17 minutes to go. But
I mean, the thing with Utah State, I mean, we've talked about them a lot the last 2 weeks. We had Coach Calhoun on the show. I mean, whatever happens in this game that we're watching right now, I mean, they end non-conference play with a road game against a really good St. Mary's team, and then they open Mountain West play and back-to-back road games against San Diego State and Nevada. Like it's going to be really hard to get through St. Mary's, San Diego State, and Nevada, like back to back. I just don't. I see them losing one of those games, but I want to see them go as long as possible.
Yeah, let me ask you this: who's got a better fan section? Who's got a better atmosphere? San Diego State or Utah State?
Utah State,
West? Hands down.
Yeah.
Well, that's love right there, man. That's love.
Yeah. The herd.
Who's got better beaches, San Diego or Logan?
I'm gonna go San Diego.
San Diego. So, oh man, Drake's up by 3 with 1:22. All right, what games are we going to watch this week?
I mean, I like the Cincinnati and Dayton. They're playing on Friday.
Yes, both ranked.
I think that's going to be a really good game. I got my eye on Marquette at Xavier. I kind of want to see how Marquette bounces back. That's a Saturday game. I'm really big on Xavier this year.
Zach Fremantle's out.
Yeah, I mean they're not having as good of a start as I would have hoped. They're not injury free right now, but I want to I'm keeping my eye on that game because I do think it's going to be it's at Xavier, and then I got Mississippi State at Memphis on Saturday.
I got that one tonight. Yeah. I got 3: Oklahoma, Michigan, San Francisco at Bradley, 2 really good mid majors, and VCU at New Mexico. All right. The Anteaters. I love the Anteaters. This is what I'm saying. UCI plays at Belmont on Thursday, and then they go and play Duquesne on Saturday. But I like that Mississippi State Memphis game. High Point plays at SIU, UCLA at UNC, Purdue at Alabama. The game K-State at Wichita State, but the game I'm excited about is Western Illinois at Lindenwood.
Yes, love it.
I mean, can you imagine that game? I bet you anymore. Coach Gerdman's probably having Chick-fil-A that morning.
They're such good guys, and they're really good coaches.
I don't know about Boudreaux. He hasn't gotten back to me about coming back on the show. We'll do it live in Lexington.
There you go.
So, yeah, there's just great games. Shout out to Furman and Columbia, too, both 10-1. We got to get back to my mid-major minutes during this show.
Minutes. Yeah, we'll throw it in next week. Maybe like a preseason or a mid-season mid-major minutes. LT's top 25 mid-majors. Look out for it next week, dropping on Christmas Day.
So this kind of is going to ruin our show because Drake is only up 3 with 27 seconds. So we got to talk for another 4 minutes. And then Utah State's up by 4.
They're both going to win.
Do you really think so?
Yes.
Wow. So you think Oklahoma's going to be the first one to lose?
I do. I think Oklahoma's going to lose tonight. Yep.
Okay. All right. Go blue. But all right. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Those 2 teams don't win. We'll just have to re-record the whole thing.
No, we're not going to. Whatever. But don't forget to subscribe. Oh my God, it's tied with 10 seconds to go. Dude, there's been so many overtime games today. That Clemson, South Carolina. This one's in overtime. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. But yeah, don't forget to subscribe, rate, review. If you love the show, you like the show. Hey, we could really use a 5-star rating review. It just helps us grow the show. And don't forget to subscribe. We got a whole bunch of stuff on the Full Court Network with all our different shows. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Should I just keep going on for like 10 more seconds? I can't. LT out.
Follow our social pages. Find out who wins the game.
Yes. All right, we'll see you back next week. Christmas edition of the College Basketball Weekly. Drake just won.
Did they? Yeah. 3-pointer.
Oh my God, Drake just won. All right, we're gonna keep this going. The Bulldogs are still undefeated.
Told you.
Bye, Felicia.
Hold on. I'm seeing what happened here.